Some U.S. state quarters are worth thousands, and you might have one without even knowing. Minting mistakes, rare editions, and collector demand have turned these coins into hidden treasures. Let's uncover the top 5 most valuable and fascinating state quarters ever made. Let's kick things off with the Oklahoma State Quarter. Was released in 2008 as the 46th coin in the 50 State Quarters program. Struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, today, we're focusing on the Denver minted version, the 2008 D. On the reverse, you'll find the elegant scissor-tailed flycatcher, Oklahoma's state bird, soaring over a field of Indian blanket wildflowers. It's a breathtaking tribute to the state's natural beauty. On the obverse, of course, we have the classic George Washington portrait designed by John Flanagan. But what really makes this quarter valuable are the errors that could turn it into a collector's dream. Most valuable errors and rare varieties. Let's get into the most exciting part, errors that can turn your quarter into serious cash. 1. Dramatic double die errors, DDR and DDO. A powerful double die error can significantly increase value. Look closely at the letters in Oklahoma, or E pluribus unum, as well as the bird's feathers and tail. A strong DDR, double die reverse, or DDO, double die obverse, can fetch anywhere from $100 to over $1,000, depending on the strength of the doubling and the coin's condition. 2. Extreme off-center strikes. If your quarter has a dramatic misalignment where part of the design is missing, it could be highly valuable. A 10 to 15% off-center strike could be worth $150 to $300, while a 50% or more off-center example with a full date could command over $1,500. 3. Missing clad layer, blank planchet or partial clad error. A missing clad layer, exposing the copper core, is a rare and desirable error. If your quarter has a dull, reddish-brown appearance on one or both sides, it might be worth between $300 and $1,200. 4. Major die breaks and cuts. A die break, or cud, occurs when part of the die cracks, leaving extra metal on the coin. Look around the rim and the bird's wings for raised, rough areas. Large cuds have been known to sell for $200 to $800. How much is the 2008 D Oklahoma quarter worth? Here's a breakdown of values based on condition and errors. Circulated condition, typically 25 cents to $1, but rare errors increase value. Uncirculated, MS 63 to MS 65. These can sell between $5 to $50. High-grade MS 67 plus, these rare examples can command $100 to $500. Mint state MS 68 or higher, if you have one in near-perfect condition, it could be worth $1,000 or more. Next up, we have the Idaho State Quarter. Was released on June 4, 2007, as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. Designed by Don Everhart, this coin features a stunning image of the peregrine falcon, one of the fastest birds in the world, soaring over the state outline. The motto Esto Perpetua, meaning let it be perpetual, is a nod to Idaho's natural beauty and enduring legacy. The quarter was struck in two main locations: Philadelphia, which produced the 2007 P, and Denver, which produced the 2007 D. There were also proof versions made in San Francisco, including silver proofs for collectors. But today, we're focusing on the 2007 P, which had a mintage of 294,600,000. That might seem like a high number, but certain error coins and high-grade examples can be worth significantly more than face value. Key errors. Some of these errors are rare and highly collectible, making them worth way more than 25 cents. Double die obverse, DDO. This type of error happens when the design is struck twice onto the coin, slightly misaligned. Some 2007 P Idaho quarters have noticeable doubling on the inscriptions, like Liberty or In God We Trust. If you spot clear doubling with the naked eye or under a magnifying glass, you could be looking at a coin worth $500 to $1,000 depending on its condition. Major die breaks and die cracks. These happen when the die used to strike the coin develops cracks, leading to raised lines or even missing parts of the design. On the Idaho quarter, die cracks are often seen near the falcon's wings or along the edges of the coin. Some of these dramatic die breaks can sell for $200 to $500 depending on size and severity. Clipped planchet error. A clipped planchet happens when a part of the coin's blank is missing before striking, creating a curved or straight clip on the edge. A well-defined clipped planchet error on a 2007 Idaho quarter can bring in $150 or more. Off-center strikes. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the striking process. The design may appear shifted toward one side, sometimes even cutting off part of the image or lettering. If the off-center strike is significant, say 50% or more, it could be worth anywhere from $500 to over $1,500, with more extreme shifts fetching higher values. Missing clad layer. The 2007 Idaho quarter is a clad coin, meaning it has a copper core with an outer nickel coating. Sometimes, one of these layers is missing, exposing a copper-colored surface. These errors can be extremely valuable, often selling between $300 and $1,200 depending on the coin's condition. Valuable coins. Aside from error coins, high-grade examples of the 2007 Idaho quarter can also be worth significant money. If you have a quarter in mint state, MS, condition, especially graded MS 67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, it can fetch anywhere from $500 to $3,000 depending on demand. The higher the grade, the more valuable it becomes, especially if it has strong luster and no visible marks. Now let's talk about the New York State quarter. Was released on January 2, 2001, as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. It was the 11th quarter in the series and features an incredible design celebrating New York's history and significance. On the reverse, you'll see the Statue of Liberty standing proudly with the state outline behind her. The design also includes 11 stars, symbolizing New York being the 11th state to join the Union. Of course, we can't forget the words, "Gateway to Freedom," emphasizing the state's role in welcoming immigrants through Ellis Island. This quarter was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, P Mintmark, Denver, D Mintmark, and San Francisco, S Mintmark for proof coins. Key errors to look for. Now, let's talk about what makes some of these quarters extra special. Errors. Coin errors can increase the value of a quarter dramatically, and there are a few known errors that you should definitely be aware of. Off-center strikes. If you find a New York quarter where the design is off-center, you might have a valuable coin. The more dramatic the misalignment, the better. A 50% off-center strike can be worth anywhere from $500 to $2,000, depending on the condition. Double die obverse, DDO. This error occurs when the die strikes the coin more than once, creating a doubling effect, particularly in the inscriptions like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." These can be worth between $1,000 and $5,000, depending on how strong the doubling is. Clipped planchet. Some New York quarters were struck on clipped planchets, meaning a portion of the coin is missing. These can range from $250 to $1,000 based on the size and location of the clip. Die cracks and cuds. Die cracks and cuds happen when the coin die begins to wear out, leading to raised lines or missing sections on the coin. Some cuds near the rim of the quarter can make it worth around $500 to $1,500. Missing clad layer. Some quarters were struck without their top clad layer, leaving one side with a copper appearance. These can be worth between $2,000 and $7,500, depending on how much of the clad layer is missing. Values and what your coin might be worth. So, how much are these coins worth today? Let's break it down by condition and errors. A standard circulated 2001 New York quarter with no errors is typically worth only face value, 25 cents. A quarter in uncirculated condition, graded MS 65 or higher, can be worth around $50 to $200. If you have a proof version, especially a silver proof, it can be worth $50 to $250. Error coins, like the ones we mentioned earlier, can go from $500 to over $7,500, depending on rarity and condition. Some rare high-grade examples in MS 68 or higher have been known to sell for over $10,000 at auction. The Maryland State Quarter was released on March 13, 2000, as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. It was the seventh coin in the series and celebrates Maryland's rich history and heritage. On the reverse of the coin, you'll see the Maryland State House Dome, the oldest state capitol in continuous legislative use. Surrounding the dome are branches of the white oak, Maryland state tree. Below that, you'll find the state's nickname, the Old Line State, a tribute to Maryland's Revolutionary War soldiers. This quarter was minted in Philadelphia, P. Mintmark, Denver, D. Mintmark, and San Francisco, S. Mintmark for proof coins. Key errors to look for. Now, let's get to the exciting part, valuable errors. Mistakes at the U.S. Mint can turn an ordinary quarter into a collector's dream. Here are some key errors that could make your 2000 D Maryland State Quarter worth serious money. Off-center strikes. Coins that were struck off-center can be very valuable. The more off-center the design, the rarer it is. A 50% off-center Maryland quarter could be worth anywhere from $500 to $2,500, depending on condition. Double die obverse, DDO. This occurs when the die strikes the coin twice, creating a doubling effect, often visible in the words, Liberty, or, In God We Trust. Some of these have been sold for over $3,000 in high grades. Clipped planchet. When part of the coin is missing due to an error in the blank cutting process, it creates what's known as a clipped planchet error. These quarters can be worth $250 to $1,200 depending on the severity of the clip. Die cracks and cuds. Over time, coin dies can develop cracks or break entirely, leaving raised lines or missing chunks of metal on the coin. Some cuds near the rim or on the Maryland State House Dome have sold for $1,000 or more. Missing clad layer. If the outer nickel layer is missing, exposing the copper core, you're looking at a serious collector's item. A missing clad layer on one side can make this coin worth between $2,500 and $8,000. Values and what your coin might be worth. Let's talk numbers. How much could your Maryland quarter be worth? A standard circulated 2000 D Maryland quarter with no errors is worth face value, just 25 cents. An uncirculated quarter, graded MS 65 or higher, could sell for $50 to $300. A silver-proof version can be worth $75 to $500 depending on condition. Error coins, like the ones we covered earlier, can sell for anywhere from $500 to over $8,000. The rarest, highest-graded examples in MS 68 Plus have been known to fetch more than $12,000 at major auctions. Finally, we have a more recent issue. The 2021 D Washington crossing the Delaware quarter was struck at the Denver Mint and released as a one-year-only design following the conclusion of the 50 State Quarters and America the Beautiful Quarters programs. It marks a return to a more traditional quarter design, featuring George Washington on the obverse but with a bold new look. The reverse of the coin showcases an incredible depiction of General George Washington leading his troops across the Delaware River during the American Revolutionary War. This historic moment, occurring on the night of December 25 to 26, 1776, was a turning point in the fight for independence. The design includes Washington standing at the bow of the boat, a determined look on his face, with waves crashing around him. The D Mintmark signifies that the coin was minted in Denver. While this quarter is still relatively new, collectors have already discovered several errors that make certain examples highly valuable. Key errors to look for. Now, let's talk about what could turn your Washington crossing the Delaware quarter into a jackpot find. Here are some of the most valuable errors to look for. Major die breaks, cuds. Some of these quarters feature large die breaks, also known as cuds, where a piece of the die has chipped off, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. Depending on the size and placement, these errors can sell for $100 to over $1,000. Struck through errors. Some quarters were struck through grease or other debris, causing missing details in Washington's face, the boat, or the waves. These errors can range in value from $50 to $500, with extreme cases bringing even more. Double die obverse, DDO. A double die error occurs when the die shifts slightly between strikes, creating a noticeable doubling of the letters or design. On this quarter, doubling has been spotted on Washington's profile and the inscriptions. Strong DDO examples can sell for $500 to $3,000, depending on condition. Off-center strikes. If the design is off-center due to improper alignment, the value skyrockets. A 50% off-center strike can fetch $1,000 or more. Missing clad layer. Some quarters were struck without the top nickel layer, exposing the copper core. If you find a coin with a missing clad layer on one or both sides, it could be worth $2,000 to $7,500, depending on severity and condition. Values and what your coin might be worth. Let's talk about the potential value of your 2021 D. Washington crossing the Delaware quarter. A standard circulated quarter with no errors is worth face value, just 25 cents. An uncirculated example in MS65 or higher could sell for $50 to $200. A silver-proof version, available only in special mint sets, can be worth between $50 and $500. Major error coins, such as the ones mentioned earlier, can range from $100 to over $7,500. The rarest, highest-graded examples, MS68 or higher, have already sold for over $10,000 at auction. So there you have it. 5 state quarters with potential hidden value. Have you come across any of these errors in your collection? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an update on rare and valuable coins. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.